Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft. This mock draft is for Ryan, but it's actually quite a twist to a typical mock draft. This is a keeper mock draft. Now, this obviously is not going to help every single viewer who's watching this, but if you're playing in any type of keeper league, a lot of these keepers that you're going to be seeing are probably going to be pretty normal to what you may have in your draft, where a lot of these high first round talent guys are going to be gone off the board, and you have to make a decision of who to pick at 4 that's not even going to be really as good as what you're typically used to. Now, let me go through who has been kept before I start the video. So, pick 1, Alvin Kamara is kept for the first round pick. The second guy kept Le'Veon Bell for a first round pick. This third guy kept Mike Evans for a second round pick. My guy, the guy I'm doing the video for, Ryan, is keeping Christian McCaffrey for his fourth pick. The fifth pick is picking James Conner for the 15th pick. The sixth pick is keeping Robert Woods for a seventh round pick. 7 is picking Julio Jones for a second round pick. This guy's keeping Saquon for the first round. The ninth pick is picking Zeke for the ninth round or for the first round. 10th pick is keeping Joe Mixon for third round value, which is probably one of the best values here besides CMC and I would say James Conner. And then this guy's keeping Michael Thomas for the second pick, and this guy's keeping Leonard Fournette, which is the worst out of all of them. So, but before I start the draft, I'd like to ask you guys to please go down below and click that subscribe button because I want you guys to win your championship, and I'm going to help you win your championship by dominating your draft, then during the regular season, making the correct waiver wire decisions, correct trades, correct lineup decisions, and then doing all of that in the championship so that you can win all through the playoffs. So let's begin the draft. So the one thing that is the one reason why I don't typically play keeper is because I think it kind of ruins the beginning of the draft for me. It kind of ruins the fun of the beginning of the draft, but it's a-okay here because we're still going to start off with a great team because this guy that I'm doing the video for has a great keeper. So we could either start off. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to start off with a great wide receiver here. So at this pick, it's either going to be DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams, or if it was David Johnson, maybe you would pick David Johnson here. I probably would to get 2 elite running backs, but he didn't fall to us. So it's between Hopkins and Adams. So who do you want there between Hopkins and Adams? I personally prefer Adams. Adams is on a better team in my opinion, and Aaron Rodgers threw him the ball a lot last year, but Aaron Rodgers even said himself that he wants to target him even more, which seems almost impossible to me that you can be targeted more than he was last year, but maybe it'll be 10 targets a game. Who knows? So I like Devontae Adams here at the 4th pick. In this situation where the running backs available still are not that good. So, after we picked Adams, Odell went, followed by Hopkins, and then Gurley, and then the 2 keepers of Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott, and then Juju, Tyreek Hill, the keeper Leonard Fournette, and then Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown, Nick Chubb, Keenan Allen, Julio Jones, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams, then our keeper of Christian McCaffrey, Mike Evans, then Melvin Gordon, then T.Y. Hilton, Kerryon Johnson, Adam Thielen, Pat Mahomes. So, first quarterback already off the board in the 3rd round, which is pretty typical. Now, maybe in a keeper league, it's more serious, so you will see quarterbacks going slightly later than the 3rd round, but in your typical at-home league, you may be seeing a quarterback go in the 1st or 2nd round. So, yeah. And the Travis Kelce, the best tight end available, has already been selected in the 2nd round, which is also pretty typical. So now it's our pick. And the running backs here are pretty normal 3rd round running back picks. Guys like Aaron Jones, Marlon Mack, Devontae Freeman, the best running backs available. At the wide receiver position, we've got Cooper, Diggs, Julian Edelman. So I don't really like those guys in comparison to the running backs. And then all the tight ends are still available besides Kelce. So we are just going to go running back here and select the best running back on the board. In my opinion, the best running back on the board here is not Aaron Jones, but it is Marlon Mack because I think he's safer. Marlon Mack is going to absolutely eat. Andrew Luck may be out the first couple of weeks due to this calf strain that I keep hearing about. Now, I recorded this video the day before you're seeing it, so if it came out that he's perfectly fine and is practicing, then this information has nothing to do with it because I think maybe they'll try to run the ball more if they know Luck is hurt and they don't want him getting hit as much, obviously. Also, I think Mack, even without that, is just going to have a solid floor. Now, obviously, he doesn't catch passes like a guy like Aaron Jones will. But at the exact same time, that doesn't really matter because he's going to be running the ball so much, getting a lot of touches and scoring touchdowns, so I like Marlon Mack here. I wouldn't hate going Aaron Jones here, but I prefer Mack. So after we went Marlon Mack, Amari Cooper came off the board, followed by Stephon Diggs, Zach Ertz, Aaron Jones, Devontae Freeman, Joe Mixon was the keeper, Mark Andrews, Julian Edelman, George Kittle, David Montgomery, James White, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Galladay. So in this league, where it is a double flex league, you may target wide receivers more in a full PPR league. Now, I won a league with this, like this, with actually I didn't win. I came in second in this type of league with 4 elite running backs starting every single week. So either strategy could work. Personally, some people may look to do a lot of wide receivers, go heavy wide receiver here, and that may be the strategy I try out here because I think it could work. So we're gonna go with an elite wide receiver, not elite obviously, but a great value at this pick, and that's Chris Godwin. Godwin is going to be on a team that runs a lot of offensive plays. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense fucking is terrible. Terrible. They're terrible. The offense is going to be on the field a lot trying to catch up in these games, and that means they're going to be throwing the ball. And also, they play in a division where there's a lot of shootouts happening when they play against the Saints, when they play against the Panthers, all these and the Falcons. All these games are all shootouts typically because all of their defenses are not that good. So Chris Godwin is going to be catching a shit ton of passes in those games and in all the games because they're always going to be behind typically because of how terrible their defense is. So we are just going to pick Chris Godwin. After we picked Chris Godwin, Chris Carson came off the board, followed by Tyler Lockett, Philip Lindsay, AJ Green, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore. Which is perfect because a lot of the running backs that are still here, I'm not really targeting any of these guys. I'd much rather just wait till the 6th round and pull the trigger on another running back if I was to want to go running back. So we'll just go with our 3rd wide receiver here and go with the best wide receiver available, which is, in my opinion, Tyler Boyd. Now, Jarvis Landry obviously has that PPR floor. He's going to be catching a load of passes in the slot on the Browns. He's going to be catching hella passes. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. But obviously, Odell eats into those targets. Odell wasn't there last year, and it was pretty much the Jarvis Landry show. Now, I think Jarvis Landry will play better, not being by himself. He played better when Josh Gordon was on the field in comparison to when he was alone, I am pretty sure. And I do know that he could be a solid value pick here in the 5th round, but I'd much rather go with a guy that I believe has higher upside in Tyler Boyd, the wide receiver 1, for the first couple of weeks while AJ Green is out. Tyler Boyd is going to absolutely tear it up. He had to play a bunch of games with Jeff Driscoll and a sorry-ass coach in Marvin Lewis. That guy sucks, and you don't want him as your coach. Now they have Zach Taylor, the coach, and I believe that Tyler Boyd will have quite the successful season this year with Andy Dalton throwing the ball. After when Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry went, followed by Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, O.J. Howard, Tariq Cohen, Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake, Alshon Jeffrey, Sony Michel, Tevin Coleman, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Darius Geis, Dante Pettis, Rashad Penny, Evan Ingram. So, with that being said, I would tread with caution on Andrew Luck due to this strain, his calf strain, like I said, because it has been going on since April, so it hasn't just came up in camp and then you're like, oh, okay, he'll be okay, right? But it's been lingering since April, so I'm kind of worried about that, and I wouldn't pick Andrew Luck there. I'd much rather go with Rodgers, even though I'd go Rodgers anyways. I don't know if I'm touching Luck at all this year due to that, and I'm kind of scared. I don't like drafting injury-prone players. If I'm drafting tomorrow, I'm not drafting Andrew Luck. So, now it's our pick. So a lot of the good tight ends are gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 tight ends are gone. So there's still some tight end value here. Guys like Hunter Henry that I like, Jared Cook that I like a decent amount, and Vance McDonald. But that's fine with me because we're not going to go and do that. We are going to secure our 2nd flex option here. And the wide receivers are still pretty good, but I'd much rather go with a running back here that I know I'm going to be able to start at the flex every single game pretty much. Until he's on a bye, obviously, but that is Latavius Murray. Now, Latavius Murray is going to be the running back 2, the RB2 on the New Orleans Saints, and I like him a lot because he's going to be in that, what's his name? He's going to be in that Mark Ingram role, sorry guys, the Mark Ingram role from last year. He's going to be snagging some touchdowns from Alvin Kamara. He's going to be running the ball a bunch of times, probably like 10, 12 times a game. Get a bunch of yards, catch like a pass or two, and end up with like 9 or 10 points, which is a solid flex too, or a 2nd flex, when some people don't know how to draft and will end up having some terrible running back or some terrible wide receiver in at that position. And you can even flip him out for some wide receiver we draft later if you'd prefer to do that. So after we went Latavius Murray, Hunter Henry went, followed by Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees, Allen Robinson, Eric Ebron, Robbie Anderson. So, a lot of quarterbacks gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks gone. And there's still a lot of solid wide receiver values. So I'm comfortable going running back again here. And we're just going to grab the guy who I also consider picking here, and that is Myles Sanders. Now, I also like Jordan Howard because I think Jordan Howard's going to get the first couple of weeks as the starter, but Myles Sanders is going to ride the pine for a bit, and then he's going to ride the pine in fantasy. He's going to sit on the bench, and like 3-4 weeks in, he's going to come out the gates fucking running, man. Doug Peterson came out today, as I'm recording this video, and said that Myles Sanders is the best running back on the team, the best running back on the field, and I truly believe that because he definitely is. I think here maybe we can even click on it and get the report here for you guys. Nope, that's not on there, but it's a-okay because I believe Myles Sanders is going to end up being the running back one on that team, running away with it, and being on quite a high powered offense, in my opinion, until Carson Wentz gets hurt. Inevitably, he will be scoring a bunch of touchdowns, in my opinion. So I like Myles Sanders here. Because of the wide receiver value that's still here, I think there'll be a good wide receiver coming back to us, hopefully. After we went Robbie Anderson, Myles Sanders, after we picked Myles Sanders, Baker went, followed by the keeper, Robert Woods, followed by Kareem Hunt, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitz, Jared Cook, Jordan Howard, Matty Ice, Darrell Henderson, Will Fuller, Carson Wentz, Sammy Watkins, Kyler Murray, Royce Freeman, Ronald Jones, Geronimo Allison. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks already taken out of 12 teams. So 3 teams, including myself, do not have a quarterback. Quarterback still available: Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Jared Goff, Winston. So we're just going to wait a bit and likely just go one over here. So we're going to go with a wide receiver here, and we're going to go with a wide receiver that I love targeting late in the draft. There's 3 or 4 guys back here I really like. So there's Marvin Jones, who could end up being the wide receiver, getting the wide receiver 1 numbers of the Detroit Lions. He could end up passing Galladay in fantasy points, in my opinion. So I like him. MVS is a guy I like on Green Bay. Now, we already have Devontae Adams. Will I necessarily go Scantling because of that? No, I may avoid Scantling because of that. But if we didn't have Adams, I would like Scantling a lot to be the wide receiver 2 on the team, to catch a bunch of passes. Aaron Rodgers loves targeting outside the numbers, and Scantling is going to be running the outside routes. He's going to be on the outside. The third guy I really like here is Dede Westbrook, wide receiver, slot of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nick Foles loves targeting the slot, and he's going to target not MVS. He's going to be targeting Dede Westbrook a lot, in my opinion, and Dede Westbrook seems like a steal back here. And then there's Curtis Samuel, wide receiver, Carolina Panthers. I retweeted a stat about Curtis Samuel on Twitter, so if you're not following the Twitter already, go down below. It's at Notorious Fantasy, or Notorious FNTSY on Twitter. And if you're not following that, make sure to follow that, so you can read this stat that is escaping my head. But it pretty much meant that Curtis Samuel was playing better than DJ Moore last year. I'm going to read the stat off to you, actually, because it is on my phone. So Curtis Samuel versus DJ Moore, weeks 12 through 16, both wide receivers. So targets for Samuel was 37 with 443 air yards, which is average depth of target, was 12 yards. And then Moore's was 35 targets, 330 air yards, a dot of 9.4. So pretty much Curtis Samuel, that means that Curtis Samuel is a steal because he was getting better numbers those weeks when they were both on the field, even when Cam wasn't necessarily healthy. So I like Curtis Samuel here. But I am going to end up going with the guy who I see could have the most value back here. And I do like all of them, but I think we're going to go Dede Westbrook here because I think Nick Foles is going to turn the Jags around and Dede will be a solid target for him. So after we went Dede, Sterling Shepard went, followed by Corey Davis, David Njoku, Chicago Bears, MVS, LaShawn McCoy. So right here, if we wanted to go Vance McDonald, we would have to select him here. But I think we're just going to wait on that, and we can just go quarterback here because I want to make sure that I get the quarterback that I want in this situation. So we are going to go with Famous Jameis here now. I know a lot of people, they hate Famous Jameis. Oh, Ryan Fitzmagic stole his job last year. I'm aware. But Ryan Fitzpatrick is a god the first 4 weeks of the season. Everyone knows that. I'm a Dolphins fan. I know we're going 4-0 the first 4 games. That's just a fucking fact. That's a guaranteed fact so that Ryan Fitzpatrick can get another job next year on some other team. So, throw last year just completely out of the equation. He was Jameis was thrown into games when they were down. He was started after not playing for a while. Very confusing for Mr. Jameis. And I think Jameis is going to play great this year. And we have Chris Godwin, and Jameis is going to be throwing the ball to Evans and Godwin and O.J. Howard a shit ton. And I think that the Godwin and Jameis Winston stack is a stack that I like to target. And stacks don't only work in DFS. A lot of people love stacking in DFS. Yes, that's a great strategy in daily fantasy to stack your quarterback with a wide receiver on the team, like Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. That's a stack that is fucking deadly, but it costs a lot of money. Now, this is a cheaper stack, most likely, in DraftKings and cheap in redraft leagues because we get a guy like Godwin in the 4th round and then wait all the way to the 9th to stack with Jameis Winston here. The guy who's going to be throwing the ball a lot when, like I said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be down a lot and they're going to be slinging the ball. So after we went famous Jameis, Russell Wilson went, followed by Marvin Jones, Curtis Samuel, Vance McDonald, N'Keal Harry, Jalen Samuel, Dante Foreman, who's now the running back of the Indianapolis Colts, formerly of the Houston Texans. So he was signed. So maybe you want to draft him. I'm not really going to draft him because I really believe it's Naheem Hines because Dante Foreman hasn't proved anything yet. So Cam Newton was picked after that, followed by Courtland Sutton, Jared Goff, LA Rams defense, Jerick McKinnon, AP, Damian Harris, Austin Hooper, and Kiki Do You Love Me Cootie. So let's see. The tight end position did end up going. Vance McDonald did end up going before we picked, which is fine because we can just wait a bit and go with the tight end later. So this type of a league where you have a shorter bench, typically the 6 bench is normal. This league only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. 6, I consider 5 to be a shorter type of bench, especially when you have 2 flexes. That's kind of weird in my opinion, but I'm not the commissioner. I'm just making this video. My double flex league is a 6 bench spot league, but 6 or 7 makes more sense for that, but that's fine. But in a shorter bench type of league, I do want to try to get a lot more running backs, and I'm not worried about drafting a backup quarterback or backup tight end in this type of situation because since it's a shorter bench, you're going to be able to pick up guys easier off the waiver wire that are better because people are not as willing to roster 2 QBs. So we currently have 1, a 2, a 3, a 4 running backs. 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, and 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. So it's perfectly balanced as all things should be. So at this point, I'm not really loving the wideouts that are available. So we're just going to wait a bit and go with a running back here. So it's between, right here in the back, it's between Barber and Smith. Because I think that, as you guys know, Ronald Jones is just fucking, I don't know what he's doing. I still draft him, but I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he hasn't became the number 1 on the team. It's still Barber, I'm pretty sure. Because Barber is just, he's just rolling as the running back 1. He's at a solid camp, and he's just going to roll into the season and just honestly, just hold the job from Rojo until Rojo truly emerges. So Peyton Barber being a running back 1 in the 10th round on a team that will be behind, so they will be throwing the ball a lot. But at the beginning of the game, they can run the ball, and then when they're in the red zone, they can run the ball with Barber. So I like Barber here. Honorable mention to Ito Smith, who probably will end up being the running back 1 on that team once Devontae Freeman inevitably goes down tying a shoelace. And they also can't run Ito Smith, or they can't run Devontae Freeman very heavily on the red zone, like on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, where they're going to run it right up the middle, because Devontae Freeman has such injury history with concussions that it's worrisome to do something like that, to send a guy head first into 11 people. So we're going to go with Peyton Barber here anyways. And so after Peyton Barber, we went Deshaun Jackson went, followed by DK Metcalf, Emmanuel Sanders, James Washington, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Phillip Rivers. So we actually are able to get Ito Smith here. So we're going to have a lot more running backs, and we'll just go 1 wide receiver at the end. Honorable mention also, Justin Jackson is an honorable mention because I think drafting him late is good because if you have Melvin Gordon, you have to draft him, but he could end up playing for 8 weeks on the Chargers, being the starter, the running back 1 on that team. Now, if Justin Jackson or if Melvin Gordon ends up signing that contract in a couple of days, then obviously this mock draft, that pick is irrelevant. So I'm not even going to pick him, but I did bring him up because of that. Matt Breida, also an honorable mention because he has been in camp. There were reports, maybe it'll show up here. He's all over the field. Versatility on display. He's catching passes. He's running it on the ground. So he's an honorable mention too, who I like, but I go Ito Smith here. After we went Ito Smith, Alexander Madison went, followed by the LA Chargers, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Dante Moncrief, Golden Tate, TJ Hawkinson, Lamar Jackson, Kalen Ballage, Baltimore Ravens, Anthony Miller, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Carlos Hyde, Paris Campbell, Tyrell Williams, Justice Hill, and now it is our pick. So we need to get one more wideout, and then we're going to go with a tight end. Now our wideouts have the have the bye of Devontae Adams has bye 11. Chris Godwin has bye 7. Dede Westbrook has bye 10. Sorry, I just tapped my mic a bunch of times on accident. Has bye 10. So we've got 9, 10, 11, 7. So none of the same week, so that's perfectly fine. So we're going to go with Traquan Smith here, wide receiver, New Orleans Saints. I like targeting him because I think he's going to be the wide receiver 2 on the Saints, and I think that he's going to get a bunch of targets this year and have a true breakout year. He tried to break out last year, but the coaches were running a carousel of wide receivers. Traquan Smith would play one game, then get his ass, not cut, but like they just fucking bench him. He wouldn't even get dressed. And then they start him again. Very confusing. So we're going to go with Traquan Smith and hope he truly breaks out this year and becomes that wide receiver too. So after we went Traquan Smith, the Minnesota Vikings went followed by Delaney Walker, Devin Funchess, Kyle Rudolph, Devin Singletary, Justin Jackson. And now we're going tight end. So we're going to go with the best tight end available in my opinion, which is my favorite late round tight end target, Mark Andrews. He is in camp. He's been phenomenal. Not Justin Jackson. Lamar Jackson loves targeting him. And for that reason, I love targeting Mark Andrews back here. He's going to be the tight end one on that team. He's going to be the number one target, in my opinion, on that team to catch the ball. After we went Mark Andrews, Naheem Hines went, followed by Greg Zuerlein, Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Guap, Cleveland Browns, Devontae Parker, Justin Jackson, Greg Olsen, Harrison Butker, John Brown, Will Lutz, Kirk Cousins, Houston Texans, Stephen Gostkowski, Dion Lewis, Jake Elliott. So now it's our picks. So we're going to go with the defense. Now, the way you're going to pick a defense is you're going to go on Google, type in NFL schedule week 1, and then pick a defense based upon a defense playing shitty offense. Now, I haven't done that research yet, so we're just going to go with the Denver Broncos here because they're the highest ranked one. Typically, I like the Cowboys because they're playing the Giants week 1. After we picked the Denver Broncos, Kyan Forbairn went, followed by Robbie Gould, Adam Vinatieri, Matt Breida, Kissin Titties Trubisky, Marquise Brown. And now it's our pick, so I'm going to go with the kicker, and we're going to go with the best kicker available, Mr. Giorgio Travecchio. After we picked Giorgio Travecchio, the James Conner pick went, which was a keeper. He obviously doesn't go this late. Then Darwin Thompson, one of the handcuffs for Damian Williams. And then Trey Burton, followed by Dan Bailey, Jimmy Graham, Marquise Goodwin, Jack Doyle, Andy Isabella. So our finishing lineup is Famous Jameis, followed by, at our quarterback, our starting running back is Christian McCaffrey, our keeper, followed by Marlon Mack. Our 2 wide receivers are Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin. Our tight end is Mark Andrews. Our flexes are Tyler Boyd and Latavius Murray. Our kicker is Giorgio Tavecchio. Our defense is the Browns, but that's not necessarily who we'd pick. Our bench is Myles Sanders, Dede Westbrook, Peyton Barber, Ito Smith, and Traquan Smith. So thank you guys all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click that subscribe button down below so that you guys can win your championship. I'm going to be giving you the tips and tricks on how to win during the regular season, dominate your draft, dominate the postseason, win the championship. So thank you guys all for watching. Please click that like button down below also and leave a comment if you enjoyed. And have a great goddamn day, guys. Hopefully you kick one of these videos that's on the screen right now because they're all fucking amazing. Have a great goddamn day, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.